Lisa, Lucas. Pleasure to be speaking with you both today. We'll throw the two-parter at Lisa first. How's your day going? And how's it feel to be answering the same questions over and over and over again about House of Abraham?
I love it. My day is going great. I am so excited to talk about House of Abraham because I am very proud of this little film. And yeah, so ask away.
Okay, well then we'll properly follow up with that. So how long, from your recollection, was it from learning about the project to being able to announce it?
Wow, to announce it. Okay, so one, two, we Lucas kind of came up with the idea. I have to talk it through here. Early 2022, shot it in 2023, had a finished film in 2024, and partnered with the distributor. Here we are in 2025. So what's that? 3 years, 4 years.
Wow, very patient. I mean, Lucas, in your career, you've shown a lot of patience in terms of your preparation for roles, your background with studying with conservatory or at least theater school and all that. But when did you realize in your career that you didn't want to just act, but also write and produce?
I said it was about probably 20 years ago. I think as an actor, one of the dangers of acting in film and TV is that you realize pretty quickly that a lot is out of your hands. And, your life as
Mhm.
an actor, you walk into a casting office, you do your bit, and you cross fingers that they love you and give you the part. So you're handing your power away to everybody else all the time. So this notion of taking some of that power back was my first sort of spark to try to develop my writing abilities, which I always enjoyed writing, but didn't really know where my skill set was. So I took it seriously and really started writing, going to writers group and so forth, and honed my craft and realized that I loved it and that I had a knack for it. And so it was just really about taking some of that power back that I give away to others so often.
It's such a terrifying character that you play. You clearly did all the work. The inspiration for this particular character, was it from documentaries? Was it from people that you knew?
It's a mix of everything, right? Because I did a lot of research into characters like this, sort of charismatic, I hesitate to say cult leaders, but leaders in general who are very good at manipulating others. And so, you know, um, Jonestown, of course, came in. There was some research about all that. I
Sure.
watched some interviews with all that. And then in general, I was just fascinated by this sort of time in our lives where we see a lot of people around us being sort of manipulated by smarter, potentially more ruthless people than themselves. And so I wanted to explore this notion of being careful of who you trust when you are at your most vulnerable. I think that's a pretty terrifying concept.
Lisa, what about you? Had you had any familiarity with these kinds of persuasive speakers and cult adjacent personalities before?
I have not, but I was just especially intrigued with the story that Lucas created, and especially Abraham. And
Sure.
while Abraham is this manipulative guy, I kind of related to what's just kind of going on in our culture right now, just like he said. And so that's kind of what hit, I guess, home for me, is just the manipulation and when people are at their lowest and who they choose to trust.
And I think for me also, I just want to jump in with that
Sure.
very important that I think with any good villain, so to speak, I think you have to be able to see both sides, right? I wasn't interested in trying to create like a one-note villain, which is fine for certain horror films. Like the terrified characters, Art the Clown, is just pure evil, and that's great
Right.
to watch. For more psychological sort of horror, I wanted to create a more layered character. And I think what's interesting about Abraham is that as horrendous and harsh as he can be, he also has a good point at times. He's sort of going on a fine line between what kind of makes sense in a harsh way, but it's also outrageous in another.
Well, this is a question of different direction for you, Lucas. So I know that you had your upbringing in Denmark. You had some of your theater background training in Ireland. I know you've lived in New York. What is your real accent at this point in time? Do you even know?
No, listen, I'm a sponge as to who I speak to, right? Put me in a room with a French guy, and all of a sudden I will be suddenly turning into that accent. And if you put me in, a room with a Southern, I would sort of veer into that. I'm just a sponge at this point. So this is probably as close to my own accent as I get. The real achievement is that when I go back to Denmark, I don't sound like a complete foreigner. I've actually managed to stay in touch with that language as well. And so, it's good to have that ability to be able to switch it on when I have to and speak with a fat Danish accent like this. It's very little intonation, and that's what all Danish people sound like. Or
Yeah,
try
everything sounds like a question when you're
Yeah.
speaking in English with the Danish accent. Am I wrong about that?
That's pretty true. Although that's probably Norwegian is very sort of uptony. Danish is super flat, like they don't have any intonation. So Norwegian is definitely everything is an upturn. So
Well, Lisa, a question in a very different direction. Some people, when they're producing a film, can have 15 projects going at the same time. For you, did you have any other projects going on at the same time as House of Abraham?
I mean, I've got to believe Lucas is the same way of this. I always have multiple ideas, and whether it's stories or scripts that I've read or whatever. So yes, I have them in the back of my head. But as we rolled into production, obviously on Abraham, I was full force into that. But I will be honest, the day we wrapped, I was like, "Ooh, what's next?" So yes, I have those in mind.
Are we allowed to know what's next, meaning it's not under an embargo or waiting an announcement, that kind of a thing?
You absolutely are allowed to know. So I'm in development on a romantic comedy, which is a totally different spin than this genre. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get going on that, and we're mostly finance. Hopefully, going to go into production in early next year here in Austin, Texas. So yeah.
When did you move to Austin, Texas? It seems like most entertainment people did in 2020, they moved to Austin.
Yeah, I'm from San Francisco Bay Area originally, so moved here in 1999 with my family. Kind of started my film career here, but really it kicked off over in Hong Kong. Our family moved over there for my husband's job, and I did acting, theater, Chinese commercials. I directed my first short film, worked in all sorts of different films. I worked on Keanu Reeves' first, and I think only film to direct when I was over there as well. So that was kind of my film school in Hong Kong, but now I'm back in Austin. And I love it here.
That's fantastic. Lucas, are you still based in New York these days?
still based in New York, but work multiple areas. I'm in the process of developing a feature with a team up in Seattle. So I've worked up there a few times directing. And so based on a short film of mine, a sci-fi light called Into the Dark. So so I can work really anywhere. I travel a lot.
And in that particular film, would it be on camera and also behind the scenes? In other words, having three jobs again?
Absolutely. I enjoy control, and so I know I can act, and so it's actually sort of one less actor to worry about if I stick myself up there on screen. So I'm sure a lot of people would consider it sort of vanity products, but it's a lot of hard work. So I don't subscribe to that way of thinking.
But in terms of moving to New York, the back in the olden days, you had to move to New York or LA to make it in entertainment. Nowadays, it seems like very few things film in New York. Where did House of Abraham actually film?
It was shot here in Austin. So, yeah,
There you go.
incredible talent here in this town, both behind and in front of the camera. So Austin's great and up and coming even more, I think, in the future now.
There's more to Austin than South by Southwest, we've learned in recent years. Lucas, had you filmed in Austin before this role?
Well, I'd actually done Lisa and myself worked together on a short film that Lisa directed called Guest of Honor, which I helped co-write, and we both acted in it as well. And so I was down there in Austin. I've been down there for film festivals throughout the years, and it's actually Lisa and myself met at on the film festival circuit. So for anyone listening out there who's wondering if submitting your short film to film festivals is worth it, you never know where these connections can lead you. And so I found a great collaborator in Lisa, and the rest is history.
And a fantastic cast again, besides yourself, Lucas, on there. Who had you known versus who had you cast for this movie?
Well, I can jump in with that real quick and then go back to Lisa. But so I basically wrote it with Lin Shaye in mind for that character Beatrice, because I'd worked with Lin Shaye before, and she's such a powerhouse, an incredible talent, a lovely person to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So she was actually the only character I'd this role written for her. I knew I could get the script to her, and then I was just hoping she was gonna dig it and get on board. And for Natasha, this is the fourth project I've done with Natasha. We worked together as co-stars a couple of times before this, and know her really well. And so she's just such a gifted actress that that was a no-brainer. If she had any interest in coming on board, and Natasha would be welcome as far as I knew. So I reached out to both of them originally with this idea, and then Lisa took over and brought her vision to it with them.
Well, yeah, Lisa, can you add some commentary to that? Did you know some of the people that there were people that you had relationships with that wound up cast?
Yeah, so Gary Clark, who plays the role of Victor, and then Sean Freeland, who plays the role of Pierre. I have relationships and have known them for other things and just thought of them for these roles. But the rest of them, we went through a casting director here in town. And then I'll give a shout out to Marvel Rex. He plays the role of Alex, which was a unique casting situation because Alex, being a trans man, I wanted to cast a trans actor. And so kind of just did some search, found him on Instagram and was like, wow, he looks great. And I friended him and was going to go through his agent. And then he accepted my friend request. We chatted. He joined a table read. And I mean, I'm so proud of, we had a great time working with him, and he really, really did great things for Alex. So that was a fun how that all came together. So.
Sure. Last question for both of you, and I'll throw it to Lucas first. Acting and writing are such energy needing tasks, to say the least. It's careers that you're thinking about even when you're not doing them. So what's the main way do you have to decompress or, lose the stress? Do you have a main hobby away from the craft?
You know what? I think I'm in the fortunate position that my hobby away from my craft is my craft. So I don't find it stressful to get into my writing world. Sometimes acting can be more stressful, particularly on TV, because it's just the pressure is intense and the time pressure and the crunch and all that stuff. And you really can't mess up, and all that stuff is full of pressure. But writing is probably my decompression away from that. I enjoy it's almost like meditation. I can sit down and write and forget time. 7 hours later, I can barely stand because I realize I haven't moved for the last 7 hours. So for me, that's probably my de-stressor is writing.
And the last word goes to you, Lisa. Same question. How do you decompress, if at all?
Yeah, I'm with Lucas. I'm really grateful. I enjoy and when I have free time, I love to dig into whether it's figuring out the next project or reading a script or whatever that is. So I do enjoy it. I mean, of course, there is stress that comes along with it, but my decompression stress probably is spending time with my family. I've got 3 kids, one of which had a little cameo in House of Abraham. So I'm grateful to have them, and they're creative as well. So yeah, my family.
Well, congrats on seeing this film through. It sounds like a 5-year journey from conception to promoting it. So looking forward to what's to come from both of you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks so much, Darren.
Yeah.
Paltrocast.